What if I told you that tucked away inside the ancient walls of medieval monasteries were the origins of a great gardening tradition that's been lost on most modern gardeners? In today's video, I'm uncovering the surprisingly ancient roots of the humble cutting garden. And I'm going to explain why I think it's time to bring this old gardening tradition back into fashion. I want to start with a story about the healing power of flowers. One of the most touching moments in my gardening life happened several years ago with my neighbor's mom. My neighbor brought her elderly mother into her home for hospice care during her final days. And one day when we were chatting, my neighbor mentioned that her mom was an avid gardener that loved gardening and tending to her flower beds. She mentioned that she wished that her mom were well enough to come over and walk through my garden and just chat about flowers. Unfortunately, by that time, her mother was pretty ill and was bedridden. We finished up our chat and I went back into my garden. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to pick whatever flowers are blooming in the garden and make a little bouquet for her mom. I grabbed whatever flowers were blooming in the garden at the time and just arranged them in a little mason jar. It wasn't anything fancy at all. And then I went back over to my neighbor's and knocked on the door. I was kind of surprised because I didn't recognize the lady that answered the door. It turns out it was my neighbor's sister, and she was over there visiting her mom. So I explained, hey, I just picked some flowers and I thought I'd give them to your mom. Let her know that we're thinking about her and that I heard that she was a gardener and I thought that she might enjoy some flowers. After my neighbor's mom passed away, I was touched to hear my neighbor say that her mother was so happy to get that tiny little bouquet of garden flowers. And from that moment on, the family kept flowers by her bedside until the day that she passed away. I was thinking about this story over the winter time, and that's when I decided that this season I'm going to try to make a small little cutting garden. Now, the notion of a cutting garden isn't anything new. Cutting gardens date back to medieval times, where they were a common feature in monastic gardens. Monasteries were self-sustaining communities, and their gardens were meticulously planned to serve the various needs of the community by growing medicinal herbs, vegetables, and of course, flowers for decoration and religious ceremonies. And monks and nuns cultivated these gardens with a profound sense of purpose, combining practicality and an appreciation for beauty. And the flowers grown in these gardens were not only used to adorn altars and shrines, but also to bring a touch of nature's tranquility into the cloisters. As we move forward in time, cutting gardens became a fixture in the estates of the wealthy during the Renaissance and into the Victorian period. These gardens were often a source of pride for people, showcasing a wide variety of flowers that could be harvested to fill grand halls and drawing rooms with color and fragrance. But the popularity of cutting gardens began to wane in the early 20th century. There's a few factors that contributed to this. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant changes in lifestyle and labor. People moved to urban areas, leading to a decrease in the amount of space available for gardening. And there was a rise of florists and commercial flower production, which made it easier to purchase flowers that were already cut rather than to grow them yourself. Moreover, 2 world wars drastically changed societal priorities, and maintaining elaborate gardens became much less feasible for most people. There was, however, an individual in the 20th century who made a huge impact on people's interests in floral design, and that person was Constance Spry. Her approach to floral arranging was groundbreaking at the time. She used seasonal flowers, natural shapes, and very unusual materials. She searched junk shops for unusual containers, just like we do today at garage sales and thrift shops. She also collaborated with potteries and made custom-made vases specifically to display the flowers in a way that she wanted. She actually became a bit of a rock star in her day, all because of her love of flower arranging and doing things her own way. And she typically used materials that she grew in her own garden. I was reading a section from Constance Spry's notebook where she said, "Perfection in living seems to me to consist not in spending large sums of money, but in the exercise of a selective and discerning taste in the use of what we may possess. and flowers and plants can contribute in a high degree to the elegance and graciousness of life. Isn't that the truth? So I decided I'm going to have a cutting garden in the front border. It's not going to be anything elaborate, and I'll be growing some very easy to grow plants. I'm focusing mostly on zinnias and cosmos. Both of these plants can be grown from direct seeding. Nothing could be easier. I've already started removing some of the sod in the area, and I need to finish this up pretty quickly. I do have some zinnia seedlings that are ready to go in the garden. I think it's going to be fun to have a section of the garden that's made specifically to have flowers that can be cut and made into bouquets. And if you don't have a lot of space in your garden, you can still make a cutting garden using containers. I know from experience that cosmos and zinnias grow great in containers, and they could be put on a patio in a sunny location, and you can use that as your small little cutting garden. Another technique that I'm going to try this season is to plant some seeds specifically within the gardens that are already out in my yard, to try to get sections of those gardens that I can use specifically for cutting as well. So again, if you don't have a lot of space for a dedicated cutting garden, this would be a great way to kind of just sneak some plants in there in your existing garden that you can use specifically for cutting. One of the greatest parts about having a cutting garden is the ability to experiment with different flower combinations and arrangements. You can let your creativity run wild, mix and matching colors, textures, heights, and creating stunning bouquets. And each arrangement is going to be a unique reflection of your personal style, so you'll be able to add a special touch to your home decor. Another fantastic benefit of cutting garden is its therapeutic value. Gardening is such a great way to unwind and connect with nature. The process of planting, taking care of, and harvesting flowers, for me, is incredibly rewarding. It's a mindful activity, and it definitely allows me to slow down and appreciate the beauty around me. And I find peace in this simple act of gardening. And sharing the beauty of your cutting garden with your friends and family is another great aspect. Imagine giving a bouquet of homegrown flowers to a loved one and using your blooms to decorate for a special occasion. It's such a heartfelt gesture that shows that you care, and it also spreads joy to everybody around you. Your cutting garden will not only brighten up your home, but also the lives of those you share it with. So why not give it a try? Start small, like I'm going to do. Enjoy the process and just watch your garden grow. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or you're a complete beginner, I think starting a cutting garden has endless possibilities for creativity and definitely a lot of happiness. If you want to embrace the beauty of flowers, I think that we can create stunning spaces that bloom with life and color right in our own backyards. I'd love to hear what you think. Would you ever consider making a cutting garden? That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.
Anywhere feel like